Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk The Walking Dead Q&A number 102. If you're new here, rules are down in the video description. With that said, let's jump right into the questions. Mad Fun Gaming. After Negan kills the Lucille victim, do you think Rick will eventually end up saying, "Negan, I will kill you"? I hope so. I hope they add more to it. I hope they do the whole scene over again. Just, give us something. But I hope there's more to it. I don't want to see him just kill him and then walk away, go ta-ta. I want more. I want Negan to go to Rick and be like, listen, this is what's going to happen. Whoop-de-whoop. Now you know officially you paid the price. From this point forward, you don't act up, and I'm not going to kill any more of you. You just do as you're told, get my supplies, da-da-da. And then Rick is like, I'm going to kill you. And then Negan has to just punch him in the face a couple times. Anything. Just give us more in that moment. But I do want to see Rick terrified but pissed after the killing, after witnessing the killing. I want him a little mad. Not unrealistically mad, but a little pissed. Jarrett Nelson. How long has it been since Judith was born? Because it looks to be around a year old. If so, in the Walking Dead universe, should she be walking by? You know what? I don't know. To be honest, I don't really keep track of the time like that. I do know that from the time that Herschel died till Beth died, I think the breakdown is it was only 2 weeks or some shit like that. So you do have to understand, though, that it's not much longer. It's only been roughly off the top of my head, it's only been a couple months. It took them, 2 weeks or so, or 17 days, some shit like that, to walk from where Beth died to where Noah's house is, and then a few more days to find Alexandria, some shit like that. So you have to understand, it's 6 months or less, that time that has passed. So any of you that have been keeping track, let us know for sure down in the comment box. But in my opinion, it's no more than 6 months, unless I'm missing a chunk of time. Chill Bros. Ronnie, do you think Negan's character will be different in the show because he won't be able to swear unlike the comics? No. I think the general character of Negan will be the same. Scotty Drew, do you think the TV version of Alan and Donna were bad? Like there was nothing like the comic at all? Yeah, they weren't like the comic, but I think they were bad. Even though they don't have to be like the comic, I still think they were shit versions of the comic character. Absolutely. They were probably one of the worst versions of comic book characters brought to the TV show. Not as bad as Holly. Fucking hell. But yeah, they were pretty bad. Jigger, hi, Ronnie. The way it is set in the TV show, Savior Standard Procedure is killing one of the survivors to introduce themselves to make any group obey. They did it to the hilltop even though they didn't do anything. The pictures Glenn found in the outpost would suggest the same standard procedure. So why would Negan want to punish Rick's group with this standard procedure? As brutal as it is, I thought the punishment would be a lot harsher. We have to wait and see. We know they're going to do their standard procedure, but we don't know what the punishment is, That might not be the punishment. They might kill one person and the second person or something that comes after that might be the real punishment. You know what I mean? RJ Rosa, do you think Jesus saying that the most he's seen is groups of 20 saviors will create conflict between Rick and Jesus? No, if he only saw 20, why should Rick be mad? You know what I mean? Impact Plur, hey Ronnie. About how many saviors do you think there are? Rick's group killed about 40. Man, there's got to be about 200, I'd say. Sarah Speaks. Hey, Ronnie, I wanted to get your thoughts on something. In the comics, a big moment for Dwight is when he meets Rick. Jesus and Ezekiel is in the kingdom, and they talk about overthrowing Negan. And you say if Carol is at the kingdom and it plays out in the same way, will Dwight meeting them there, don't you think Carol would notice that Dwight is wearing Daryl's vest and using the crossbow? Yeah, that's assuming that Carol isn't filled in, before that meeting happens. I mean, they should maybe that happens when Rick comes to the kingdom the first time. That's likely. Kill two birds with one stone as far as the writing is concerned. But yeah, maybe Carol notices and she starts flipping her shit and they have to say, hey, Carol might get a remixed portion of that scene, in a way. Nothing but Blaze. Do you think in the first episode of Season 7 of The Walking Dead, being that it starts with Eugene being hijacked and beaten up? Yeah, I think that's one of the most predictable ways to begin the season. I mean, it's one of the most obvious, you know? I hope they don't do that. I think it's just too obvious. I would have preferred if they would have done something a little different. I've given my ideas. I think it's Q&A 90. I stand by that, even though I could probably go back and like polish it up some. But I don't know. I think it's too simple. It's too predictable. It's too obvious. Hey, let's follow Eugene. Let's beat him up, and then we'll connect that to where we left off. Wolfman Films. Hey, Ronnie, do you think they'll show the Negan kill before or after the intro? If they want to make it a little longer until they get to the intro, I feel like sure. But at this point, I want the whole scene. Don't fuck around with the intro. If you're going to show the whole scene, do something small first, then do the intro. When you come back, just give us the scene then. Don't fucking put the intro in between anything. Once you get the scene moving, don't fuck with it. Clinton Poole. If The Walking Dead followed Negan's group from the beginning instead of Rick and gang, do you think us fans would be hating on Rick right now for killing his people and yada yada yada? Now here's the thing. If we followed Negan's gang from the beginning, some of them we would know are fucked up people, like the ones who took pictures of busted skulls. Yes, we would be more attached to Negan's group, and we'd probably love and be interested in him as villains. But if we knew this other group was coming, part of us might be encouraged to champion the other group, to be like, oh, I've been following this guy from the beginning. He's a piece of shit. I want this group to take them out finally, you know? So, I don't know. That's debatable. Neegs. Hey, Ronnie. Are there a lot of characters in the show now? Do you think... Wait. Do you think any of the actors will be annoyed at the limited screen time? If there's any actors out there that are annoyed that you're getting a limited amount of time, shut the fuck up and go to some conventions. Conventions are gold, and you can look back at my videos. I've been saying this for a couple years now, that the conventions are where the money's at. If you get a job here, it's the fan base all the way. If you get the fans, they will follow your career once you leave The Walking Dead, and you can go to the conventions and load up on that signature money. I think they pay you for being there too. There was an article written recently that say that some of these actors make more at the conventions than they do on their fucking job. And this is sad though. This is sad. And this is why I'll support conventions like The Walking Dead and stuff, because they did it before it was popular. But some of these other actors that go to the conventions, I refuse to support them at conventions, because back in the day it used to be somewhere where an artist whose career has long passed, they would go just to make ends meet, you know? But now that you get money, popular actors and actresses and yada yada yada, now they're finally showing fans the respect they deserve and coming to the conventions. Now they're getting rich as shit. Now they're going to come to the conventions. Before, they didn't give a fuck about meeting the fans. Before, they didn't come to meet the fans and build a community. No, they didn't come for that. They're coming now because of money. And what I mean, though, is like if a new actor comes on the show, they're allowed to come to the conventions. That's fine. But I see other franchises, and you're hearing about other things that were never even going near conventions. All of a sudden, they're starting to come to conventions. Alex Jones. Do you think the writers of the comic book write things into the comic book that they're anticipating seeing it on the show later? Okay, I don't know. I gave up reading that. I'm not saying you read it wrong, but I think my brain is fried. You're saying that they're like, okay, this is good in the comic, but it'll be great on screen. Kirkman has talked out about this. He doesn't try to do that, but it's impossible to shut it off, you know? I mean, me too, even when I'm writing my little thing, it's impossible, and I don't even have a TV show. It's impossible every once in a while. You think of how that might be portrayed if a real-life actor did the scene, you know? Sometimes that helps what you're writing. You could be like, oh, shit, that would be cool if that was, you know, sometimes I'll write something and I'm like, fuck, that would be so cool if it was in a movie or TV show. So I think it's impossible for all actor or writers not to let that slip into their minds as they're writing. But I don't believe he purposely writes everything going, okay, this will be good on TV, this won't work. But again, it's impossible to not let that creep into your mind once in a while. But I think he might do it on some stuff, sure, you know. Kevin Dooley. My favorite version of Daryl is from season 1 to 3. He's my favorite character, but at times it feels like his development has stalled. What do you think the writers can do to recapture some of the magic that made Daryl the fan favorite in those early seasons? Ooh, that's rough. That's rough. You know what? I agree. The same thing, man. Season 1 and 2, there was something special there. Season 3, even, I seen it. I love the stuff between Merle and Daryl, but Season 1 especially, man. Chokeholds are illegal. That whole scene was gold between Rick, Shane, and Norman. Gold. But right now, I would give him more of that smartass. Knock it off with that quiet, silent, strong type. Add some of that humor in there, because newsflash, people change. You know, circumstances, situations, things in your life, they change people, sure, but not a middle-aged man. He's not going to change so drastically, you know what I mean? In that way, you still will have pieces of that old characteristic in you. You know what I mean? You ever see somebody who's been through something and they definitely change as they get older, but there's still that hint, you know? And I think that hint is what's missing. That hint is what's making Daryl feel stale. And it was the way he snaps back. And you see it every now and then, but it's so rare. He feels like he's crafted into a different character in an artificial way, you know? And I really feel like if they went back and just brought some more of Season 1 Daryl in there, I think, man, fuck yeah, I think it would be great again, you know? Kid on a Mission. Do you think the reason why Glenn and Abe hasn't filmed could be because they offered them to go on a supply run so that they could give it to Negan? Andrew Lincoln said that he had a lot of time off because JDM being such a big part of Season 7, that maybe we won't see a lot of the main group this season. You know what? It's difficult to tell. AMC could actually be, you know, on top of this. They could actually be hiding people. Everybody wants to conveniently forget that the spoiler people never in a fucking million years even knew Morgan was on set. The first time, and I remember this because the one dude was closely following spoilers and trying to give me a play-by-play, and I kept having to say, please stop. I'm serious what I'm saying. I don't like spoilers. And they did not find out in the spoiler community until Lenny James was seen at a rap party once the season was over. That was the first time they had any hint, and he was there in the first episode. And afterwards, Lenny James talked about how, and this is Lenny James. This is not, you know, and fucking love Lenny James, but this is not a death. It's not a huge cliffhanger. It's not the biggest cliffhanger in the show's history. They hid him. They put him in, from what he says, they put him in a small bed and breakfast away from the cast. They snuck him in. They shuttled him out. All this crazy shit for him. But all of a sudden, for the big death with Lucille, it sounds like they're not doing anything. Not just not doing anything, but the stuff coming out from their camp hints to it being them. So it's like, it fucking better not be. Holy shit. Anyway, Caitlin Wilder, Wilder, I guess. Ronnie, do you know if they used real wood for the bat? Yeah, you know what? Normally on the set, they will have a real prop on set with a bat, a sword, no matter what it is. But then for the action scenes, they have fake ones that are usually rubber or some kind of soft material. And then for CGI, they'll have just the handle of it. Usually for swords and axes and shit like that, they'll have just a handle, no tip, or a blue tip or whatever. For Negan's bat, I'm sure they have 3, real one, a fake soft one, and then, or soft, because I think it's supposed to be soft, but it still hurts because I think they goofed around and they hit Greg Nicotero with it. I believe that's in one of the interviews. But and then there should be one with like a blue tip, maybe, if they need to do any CGI. I'm not sure, but just a guess. I have no clue, definites. I'm just guessing what I've seen on from past sets. Dent A. Ronnie, 2-part question. I kind of think Maggie's complications were only written into the show for an excuse for the Saviors to leave Alexandria. Do you think that she might actually lose the baby? No. Under no circumstances whatsoever do I think she'll lose the baby. I think that was specifically in there just to get them out. Yeah, I think that is a problem area where next season we might see them easily work around that and say, oh, you're running low on nutrients, just eat this fucking berry and you'll be fine, you know? Alright, I'm late. Gotta pick up my daughter. Thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'll see you guys later! Subscribe now.